Welcome back to Gears of War Judgment. Now listen to my story. It all started when I was born.
Please give us the abridged.
Ammunition for both. No, thank you.
Swipe left. Also, Dweebs, gives us the abridged version, please. We don't have that much time.
Okay.
Actually, we do have time because you know.
In universe, we don't. We are the Locusts, literally banging on the door. Even the Locusts are like.
Okay, then I'll give the story then. I was born. I grew up in this shitty world.
Not that story.
Everywhere. I learned how to fight my first locust when I was 3.
Not that story.
Weird.
I don't normally.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't normally complain about this kind of thing, but this is actually one of those rare cases where it does become a problem to me. Where, I don't particularly care for the time period they chose for this prequel to take place in, because. Because we already know that Baird and Cole make it out of all of this alive.
I mean, not to mention, every time we've been doing the trial for a while now, and yet even with Alien Invasion, the arsehole judge still keeps insisting we continue the testimony. I bet you his wife dies halfway through and you'll still have it.
Not just that,
leave strategy for men with bars, will you?
Yeah, not just that. For all intents and purposes, this trial is literally going nowhere. We know that it's probably a farce at this point. The asshole judge just wants to, do the old protocol just to say at the end, guilty, 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 But it's reaching the point of becoming a parody of itself. The fact that literally no one else is objecting. Honestly, no, that's not true. Some of the soldiers did object and saying, "Sir, the Locusts are literally banging our door." He's like, "No, we need this trial to continue."
Well, Taylor, you're probably not gonna like what happens after we finally finish this final testimony of Baird's.
Well, I think I already guessed it one of the previous parts, if not in Gears 3 or something, but whatever, I'll see.
But yeah, no, it's one of those cases where, for me, it's just like it becomes like the only two new characters are not Anya.
Ali Healy's character.
Ali Hillis' character, I forgot her name. Sophia,
that's it.
Sophia.
And the Goraznian.
And Paddock.
Sophia and Paddock.
Paddock actually shows up in Gears 5, so I actually remember, and he has a fun Russian accent, so he's more memorable. The problem is, while I do enjoy Paddock to some extent, not enough to the point of him carrying the whole dramatic tension for me.
That alone can tell the story.
Again. Well, it's like I said, there's not really that much tension because we know that Cole and Baird are going to make it out. They're the characters that we automatically care for the most because we've had the most time to get to know them. So then, the suspension of tension should hinge on whether or not Paddock and Sophia will make it out, since they're obviously the other playable characters here and there. Well, I guess you can kind of care for Paddock, although you'd have to really be invested in him, and
Again, it's just the same problem as the DLC of Gears 3, where, the characters, the veterans, were characters you knew were gonna survive, Kim, the war hero, forgot the name, and oh god, someone else. Well,
Ty, you mean?
No, but whatever. The point of it was making
he needs to go for the
veterans.
American young new protector.
No.
He's talking about the.
I wasn't talking about Jace. I was talking about the guy that in Gears 2 is built up as the
Ty. Yes, that is literally Ty. That's what I've been selling you the whole time.
There you go. You know that those survive. While the new guys, Mutton Chops guy and Laura Bailey's character. Instead, may not. And yes, Laura Bailey's character gets killed very, very tastelessly, if you ask me. Just like bail out of nowhere. While Mutton Chop's guy survived to be almost not referenced at all in the future, so why even bother?
Oh yeah, that's right. Laura Bailey did voice Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I swear it's like Rod forgot that he already had a Laura Bailey voiced character.
I mean,
okay. Or he just didn't care.
To be fair, Pedro, Alicia's dead, so wouldn't really make much sense to try and bring back Alicia.
No, I'm not saying bring back Alicia. It's just that you already had a voice of Laura Bailey for one character.
Wait, reusing voice actors is something plenty of video game series do across multiple characters.
The series has been doing since the first game by having multiple characters being voiced by Robin and Dolls, for example, or some other. Even John DiMaggio voices also some of the NPCs. But I do get also the point of the fact that Alicia was not just a random NPC. She was supposed to be, one of the main characters. And the same level that Laura Bailey's new character is.
Don't worry, guys. Guys, don't worry. We'll give Alicia the Independence Today Will Smith treatment. A picture.
Just show off a picture.
Okay. It's this area, isn't it? Yeah, it's this area.
They mentioned about the missile, so...
This is one of the... This is basically the hardest section in the game for me. Because, they send a shit ton, and I do mean a shit ton, as Marcus would say, of Locusts at you, and it can be quite overwhelming. Basically, it's yet another one of those games that does that one thing that you like so much, where its idea of difficulty is throwing everything at you in the kitchen sink.
Right. I mean, that sort of gimmick can work, but that's usually something that you reserve for, like, say, a final level, and usually still that stuff comes in phases. Or, has an interesting methodology to it.
Which would fit with the RTS elements of this game by having multiple hordes, but I guess no, they're just gonna, they're just gonna ram into you constantly.
Anyway, back to the talk about Laura Bailey and whatnot. I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised that they got Laura Bailey back for another main character, because, like I said, video game actors voicing multiple characters in a series is something that's as common as water.
Oh shit! And not just that.
I guess I can make an argument they wanted to make it up for how they treated Alicia so badly, maybe.
Potentially, but there's also the fact that Laura Bailey voicing the character makes the product very marketable because very recognizable as a voice actress. It's basically the female Troy Baker in that kind of sense, or Nolan North.
Teo has a point. Remember?
These days. Sorry, no, Angela. Sorry.
Remember how when Gears 4 was, shown at E3, they marketed the heck out of the fact that Laura Bailey would be included. Like, I'd honestly figure it's more a case of them trying to market the heck out of Laura Bailey rather than paying homage to Alicia as a character.
They figured the fact that she's voiced by Laura Bailey would distract us from the fact that how bland she is in Gears 4.
Go on,
one thing I noticed though, on regards to using Laura Bailey as a marketing.
Yes.
And that's interesting because video games use that a lot, and yet when it came to the marketing for the new fruit basket that she played the main character in again, I don't remember it being all that big of a...
I'm sorry,
because that's a dub instead of being an original product that starts with English voices.
I'm sorry, but did that enemy literally just become lambent for a bit there? Seriously, he turned that light shade of green high acid like.
Well, did he explode? Because the lambent explodes.
Well,
I didn't notice that. Sorry.
Not all lambent explode,
Well, actually, that's what we established in Gears 2.
Well, that's the thing. You sawed him, so I forget if sawing lambents caused them to explode.
Sawing them still causes the explosion. Now that I know.
Shoot, I didn't notice if he exploded them.
Me neither.
Whatever. All I noticed was that he turned an incredibly light shade of green and got back up after supposed death. So.
Maybe graphical glitch. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be something? Hey!
Yeah, it's, but, yeah, again, this is exactly, alternating between commentating on this and Gears 4, helps me make my point even stronger. Like, the art style that this game and Gears 3 have, to me, is basically the perfect balance, where they do manage to be more colorful than Gears 1, which was all gray up and with barely any color. But at the same time, like that stark sky, and stuff. To me, this is basically how the aesthetic should be like. This, I think this is the perfect way to go about it when it comes to Gears of War, the Gears of War look.
Like,
It helps that this game at the very least still retains some of the horror elements at least. But go ahead.
I mean, like I said, I kind of get what Gears of War 4 was going for. The whole, hey, now we're no longer war-torn, so now things look better and whatnot. My issue is that, again, when things do actually get war-torn, then they don't change it back to the more,
Not to mention,
war-grade
like
stuff.
I mentioned, they have that initial sequence that encompasses the Pendulum War and the Locust Wars, and it still uses the new look and art style, which is a sharp contrast.
True.
Stay down near building edge. Okay.
It's one of again, it's like I said, like like I said, the Pendulum Wars prequel trilogy would have actually allowed them to have new characters that we don't know yet in games wise. I mean, and it would allow for more tension than this. Go ahead.
I can't see shit. Wow, Jax can actually sneak behind them.
Well, he can go invisible, so.
True, but I'm surprised that the Locusts have no way of potentially attacking like this beneath the metal or something.
Alright, looking good. Any last words for our pal?
Oh wait, you wanna detonate it?
What's its name anyway?
Well, Tail, do you want to?
No. This is what is called Troy.
Well, Tail, better to sacrifice Jack than an actual person.
So there you go, guys. Our first
Hold
casualty.
on. The commander is
Did you stay on the island as ordered? Colonel, if we don't fire the lightmass, everyone in Halvo Bay is going to die. Lieutenant, listen carefully.
I don't give a crap.
Being saved by smarter men than we for a purpose.
My God. I think it just stands out because.
Hey, Tail. I forgot his name. The Colonel and Prime Minister Jin should hang out. They'll probably fall in love if they met each other.
a small step for humanity, a bigger step as a fuck you to the locals.
What's that, Miss Prime Minister? You love antagonizing good people? I love antagonizing good people too.
Don't you? Hang on, doesn't Command have the power to blow up the missile?
I don't know.
I don't know. They never addressed that.
So majestic.
And there we go. That was the lightmass missile thing that got Baird and his crew under trial, for disobeying orders and shit.
Even though
was it worth it for the fireworks?
it technically did save a lot of lives.
It did, but the thing is, the primary argument that the Colonel is making is that, yeah, you saved thousands of lives, but
But you disobeyed orders, so you're gonna die.
Not just that, Bibbs. The Colonel also makes an argument that we could have saved even more lives if you used that thing for something else. At least it's the argument that the game gives later on.
Okay, don't get me wrong. That argument would be well and fine if we didn't know how things are actually going to go in the main series.
Oh, what was that, Orn?
Eh?
Oh shit.
But yeah, this section is not over yet. Now, the waves start, and this is the part where, yeah, again, you have to be careful and do your best to survive this part, because this part is hard. Even on casual mode for me. Or maybe I just suck at Gears, but I found this section to be pretty difficult.
Basically, Baird was dead set on killing Karn.
Great reduced visibility.
Fuck off, game. No,
How do you
no.
even?
No, game.
How is that supposed to work?
That's the thing too. I get the feeling the people who made this game literally had no freaking clue what to do in terms of making a new Gears game.
I'm actually curious. Like, how do you actually implement a mechanic where your visibility is reduced for a game like this?
Sorry, Teo, but that greatly reduced visibility thing just made me react. Fuck off, and I didn't feel the need to experiment with it and try to see how it is.
I don't blame you for that.
Okay.
That doesn't. It's like. By the way, do you want to make things incredibly strenuous and stressing for you during this section? And I'm like, no.
Okay, you know, I gotta wonder, was this game popular with completionists?
I don't know, but I can tell you that the best reaction I've seen from Gears fans is meh.
Wow.
It's a game that exists.
Honestly, Java completionists tend to go more for just single player stuff, and Gears games at least have focused more on multiplayer. So, wanting to 100% a game where you have to go extensively full multiplayer, it'd be kind of counterproductive for a lot of people who want to go 100%.
That's the thing, though. I mean, like, well, this game feels like a game engineered more for completionists more than anyone, with all the random challenges and whatnot. But actually, yeah, how did this game's multiplayer do?
As far as I'm aware, relatively fine.
I mean, it was the last for the Xbox 360, so I don't know how much.
I mean, Gears 3 is still popular in the multiplayer. This game probably not so much, because if I remember correctly, I think it's kind of like an Uncharted Lost Legacy thing, where in the same way that Lost Legacy shares the multiplayer with 4, maybe I think this one does the same.
I guess to be fair,
Checking on the Gears wiki.
I guess to be fair, this game
is running on the Gears 3 engine. I do know that.
I guess to be fair, this game has the caveat that it has that messed up gameplay style that you've been referring to regarding this
never
game.
mind. Jova's got a point. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, that's probably
Also, Gears of War Judgment had its own set. Gears of War Judgment had its own sets of multiplayer modes like Breakthrough, Domination, Mastered Arms, and so on.
I will never understand developers who make these kinds of decisions. Let's make a Mario game for Virtual Boy and switch the jump button to the B button and the A button for the run button instead of the way it's always
Wait,
been.
they seriously did that?
They did that. Check the APGN review of the Virtual Boy if you don't remember. Let's switch switching weapons in Gears Judgment to the Y button instead of the D-pad. Let's switch the homing attack in Sonic Unleashed from the jump button to the X button or square button if you're playing on the PS3, because that somehow accomplishes something aside from just confusing long-time fans. Like, I will never understand developers who make these sorts of decisions, where they just switch up the controls for no reason.
So I'm curious, to what level would you suggest that Gears of War Judgment did on a scale of 1 to 10 in regards to changing the overall gameplay? Like, how drastic a change would you say it felt?
Well, it's not drastic, Joe, but like all the others, they just switch the control mapping. That's it. That's what they do. But the problem is that after playing Gears of War for so long, you've gotten muscle memory for how this is supposed to work, right?
Sure that.
I mean, again, let me use an example that you'll know. We've been used to Sonic Adventures since Sonic Adventure 1 that the homing attack is mapped to the same button as the jump button, right? So Sonic Unleashed changing that just completely fucks up with our muscle memory. And it's annoying.
Alright, I found the reason why, in regards to this game's multiplayer, Java, in terms of how did it fare, probably poorly, because aside from introducing a couple of new mods, which, people were actually okay with that, when the retail version of Judgment eventually released, not only Sam, Dizzy, and the COG gear were not amongst the playable characters for multiplayer, as were only available during the beta, but Queen del Hoyo, confirmed that the Locusts were not playable in the multiplayer, and it will just be red versus blue COG teams, creating heavy criticism from fans due to said removal of the Locusts.
Wow.
So if I had to guess, all people did not want to play this for that alone.
Jesus, wow. Okay, that is astronomically stupid.
Hey, I have an idea. Let's turn the multiplayer of Gears into Halo.
Pretty much. Oh, look.
That's a similar issue that that's a similar issue that I have with them including a battle royale mode in Halo Infinite. Like if you need to make Halo Infinite and battle royale, make it a spin-off, not part of the next main entry.
So essentially, the multiplayer for Gears Judgment can be summed up as, we tried to make it Halo. What a shock! People didn't like it because what works for Halo doesn't necessarily work for Gears.
That, maybe, just maybe, people were attracted to the franchise where you kill monsters because there were monsters in it. I don't know, maybe it's just a far-out thought.
I just don't understand.
Not only that, but maybe people were mad that you didn't include the Delta Squad, even though there are literally 2 members of said Delta Squad in this main game single-player campaign. And you didn't include Dizzy? What the hell?
No, I'm talking about the thing that I mentioned before was just not the Delta Squad, but two Sam and Dizzy, you know, but that were still going the beta. I don't know if eventually got re-added into it. It's not mentioned here, as far as I know.
But the fact that that's how it was at launch
But it's
would
not.
have
But the
been...
Delta Squad, as far as we know, is in there.
Okay.
Boy, this game's a mess.
I just don't understand this constant insistence on doing these things. Why do we have to now cater to Halo fans? Why can't we just cater to Gears of War fans?
Like, and here's what I don't get. I get it, you know, if you were competing with Halo, but Halo's on the same platform as you. You don't need to try and steal their thunder.
It makes no sense. Like, I mean, say what you want about Shenmue 3 being outdated in the way it's designed. It's very Dreamcasty in the way it's designed, but it did exactly what it was saying it was going to do. It appealed to the fans who grew up with the originals. It's literally a follow-up to the original games, even in the way it's designed. Don't like that? That's fine. But at the very least, it knew what its audience was and catered to them.
My God, is this level still going on?
I know, right? There you go. See, you know these guys on the Gnashers, they throw a shit ton of them at us. Not to mention, remember those Locusts that become hulked up and all red?
Yes.
They also throw some of them at you. Like, so
My
basically,
God, your TV's down.
So basically, Tail, yeah, that should give you an idea, Tail. That's why I stand all the way back there and just shoot from the distance.
And mind,
basically, Tail, they just cherry pick all the best nukes in the game and throw them all at me.
Okay, here's how it should have gone. Just end it after the missile hits. You pretty much got, you know, your point out there.
Make the horde before that more robust. But then when the missile detonates, it's over.
Like, keep in mind, though.
I gotta have this game out to be worth.
Not to mention,
how much the hell this game cost, I believe.
Keep in mind,
if it was hard, I guess there is no actual final boss. You just defeat a horde and that's it.
I'm actually curious now. Let me see if I can find how much this game cost.
Okay.
Pedro.
Yes.
Like you said, like I asked, I had to guess there is no actual final boss, so it's just the horde and that's it.
There actually is a final boss, yes, and there is a new Locust General. So there's that.
Remember, we're going after Karn. As
well, they did say that supposedly the lightmass missile killed him, which I know it's bullshit because we do need, a confrontation against him. But
well, here,
as far as the team knows, he's supposed to be dead.
Let me put it like this. Here's the problem. The missile is essentially the big story bit of this game. Like, it is the catalyst for the whole plot.
Yeah.
Yet, considering how it literally just comes and goes with little to no impact on the gameplay or the story that we've seen so far, like, let's be honest. If it did kill Karn, congrats, that's an off-screen death. So the fact that, at the end of the day, it's so ineffective really hurts it, because when the main catalyst for your story is, well, weak like that, you have to work your ass off to make us care about the rest of the story. And, well, I think our reactions to the story at length to this point have shown how well a bang-up job they've been doing with that.
Yeah, okay, from what I'm seeing here, it seems like it was a budget title. It was a solid 40 bucks, which makes sense considering you had a lower budget and a shorter development cycle. So at the very least that. So at the very least its price matches its length, at least. This game is actually pretty short.
Yeah, it is nice that they at least had the dignity to, you know.
How many parts are left?
After this, we're on part 8. After this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's because we have to remember, aside from the main campaign, we also have the Aftermath mini bonus campaign. So it's 14 parts in total, basically.
Right. So what's the Aftermath one? Is that where we have to?
It's basically.
Is that the game where we get to play as the judge being punished by his superiors?
I wish.
We try to let me finish. About the being punished by his superiors for stupidly carrying on a trial even though we're in the middle of an attack, and he gets put on trial himself
You
the
wish.
middle of an attack, but everyone else is protected, whereas he isn't. And if he dies during the court trial, well, then that's his own money.
Again, Dwibs, I'm afraid that's just wishful thinking for this game to be that clever.
And even better, we get to play as the enemy who gets to kill him.
You know, that
There you
would be
go.
cool if we got to play as Rom killing him.
There you go. Just that little bit that I keep bringing up on these playthroughs. Feel free to. Basically, everybody, if you want to read the article for yourself, go to Google and search GameIndustry.biz Gears of War expensive.
I'll just
And-
give the link in the description, why not?
Sure, but for those of you who might be watching on a mobile or Android.
Wait, hold on. Just put the link in the description. They can still see it on mobile.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, on Android, on my Android TV, I cannot read YouTube descriptions. So
Well, that's just Android TV's failing there.
I guess.
Alright,
Anyway,
can we
finally,
move
jeez.
on?
Ah,
All right, and that was the end of the testimony.
Yay!
That was the longest cross-examination I've ever seen.
so,
Jesus.
so literally all that testimony pretty much added up to was we dropped the bomb even though we weren't supposed to, but
It's all
that
set up
supposedly
as the bomb.
saved lives.
The testimony is just an excuse to tell us what the hell led up to the trial.
Oh,
I told you to stay on that island, Lieutenant.
Like I said, you and
Also,
Prime
why does
Minister.
he have the gearbox logo on his car?
Like I said, this guy and Prime Minister Jin should hang out. They would be perfect for each other.
Oh, already?
Last words?
oh boy,
Go
what's
fuck
the
yourself
verdict?
in the ass.
Men like you are why I fought the cog.
You know what, Paddock? I cannot even blame you there.
Saved a lot of people today.
Yeah, including your ass. No final
That's
words
not what the
from you?
subs said.
Yeah,
You
he's
have a
about to say.
point, sir. We saved, what, 1,000 people? The lightmass missile was designed to save millions. I know that. But if Karn had taken Halvo, we might have lost a chance to save anyone.
I don't care. You just did my orders, so I'll kill you. Oh look! Looks like the
Don't you still
judge
can't do the trial.
Gee, maybe prolonging the trial for this long was a bad idea.
Wait, guys, it's about to get even better.
Wait, I'll pronounce my verdict right now. You're all guilty. And I'm just gonna walk away and leave you all
Wow,
to
and he stands in the open like an idiot. Please kill him, please.
Sorry, Tio, he's a hostage.
Please kill him, Paddock, please.
Apparently the...
Locusts have no concept for an hostage, come on.
Get it? Paddock saved him.
This changes nothing.
Please, this is not Spider-Man 3.
Well, actually,
Well,
isn't that on,
if this
I think it's on
if it-
Spider-Man 2 that he says that too. Actually.
Whatever, one of the three.
I was gonna say if this was Spider-Man 3, it'd be somewhat more entertaining.
All right. Yeah. Now we have to save the courthouse, basically. Yeah, that's the final level of this game, the courthouse.
Phoenix, I know you're a capable fighter, but I don't know if you're
Okay.
suited for a
Okay,
fire.
Jova, I have to ask.
Yes?
What courthouse ended up in worse state? This one or the one in Dual Destinies?
Oh, you mean courtroom number 4? Well, I'll admit this one kind of seems
Oh,
a bit.
Jesus.
This one seems a bit more intact than courtroom number 4
Jesus,
did.
what happens in Dual Destinies?
Oh, let's just say, Tio, one of the courtrooms gets incredibly ravaged, and it's not a pretty sight.
Jesus.
No. But Dual Destinies goes into slightly darker themes at some point. But anyway, to continue with my earlier point, yeah, basically everybody, according to the Tim Sweeney, who was at the time the boss of Epic Games, according to him, Gears of War 4, you know, because this was founded by Microsoft entirely, and Epic Games was not involved. According to them, it would have cost Epic around $100 million to develop it and held into the IP. Yeah, they say here the first Gears cost $12 million to develop. They made about $100 million in revenue. By the time they got to Gears 3, it cost about 4 or 5 times more than the original. So and according to them, the product was shrinking and shrinking. So it got to a point where this is not sustainable. We have to either stop making the games or just sell it to somebody else. And Phil Spencer was the one who stood up and talked to Epic about buying the IP. Basically. So it was either crappy Gears sequels or no more Gears games. Period. Personally, I would have preferred the latter. Personally, I would have preferred no more Gears games. But
unfortunately, that was the intrinsic problem. At that point, Gears had become like one of the staple cornerstone franchises that people associated with Microsoft. So they were bound to have to milk it as much as they could.
It's like I said, Gears kind of became the Zelda to Halo's Mario of Microsoft here and there. Okay, here's what I think they should have done, though.
So would Forza be the Mario Kart?
Pretty much, yeah.
I guess.
Here's how I think they should have handled things. They should have waited a bit more to get a proper team that knows Gears of War in and out for this stuff, you know? Sort of like what Capcom were doing with Mega Man, even though Capcom didn't tell us a damn thing, so of course people got mad because Capcom are terrible at communication. But back to this, though. They should have waited to have gotten a good team that could make good Gears of War sequels. And, okay, if they really did need to...
bring back Cliffy B.
Honestly, I wonder if he even wants to be involved in that mess at this point.
He actually says, he says, he literally made an open tweet to Microsoft saying, by the way, Microsoft, and right after Rod quit, saying, by the way, Microsoft, I'm available for managing the Gears franchise if you want.
But like he said, Jova, in the time after, he kind of made a mockery of himself, so I'm pretty sure nobody wants to have anything to do with him anymore.
Okay, I gotta talk about this moment here. So there's actually a moment to do this, except narrative-wise, it doesn't make sense to put a challenge there because they're not giving testimony anymore.
Yeah.
So the whole
this is really the point where the media's res has catch up finally.
So yeah, so having a challenge like that makes no narrative sense.
Great placement.
Again, it's abundantly clear that the developers were just basically slashing what they could in 2 years, because Epic wanted to at the very least squeeze one more out of this.
There we go.
You know...
Yeah, it's Jova?
I'm trying to find the words for it. This particular spin-off thing, I feel like there are so many things that they could have done with a spin-off here and there. Yet it feels like they went...
a spin-off like this could be just, safe.
Let me put it like this.
Nothing too bad. This one seems to be below average.
Let me put it like this. This is a spin-off that, yes, is not safe, but it feels like they would have been better off going safe. Like, this feels one that needlessly overcomplicated its stuff. Like, oh, it's sort of a prequel, but it still takes place during the main war. Oh, it's in medias res, which takes away a lot of attention, which makes it harder on ourselves to maintain tension for the viewers here and there.
Stuff in medias res can still have tension. It just depends on.
It's important in how do you actually fragment it. The important bits are where to have the action eventually reprise in order to make the beginning interesting, but they also make sense.
Here's part of the main reason of this room in medias res. The fact that most of the story is told up to this point where we're pretty much near the end of the narrative here. Like, unless you're going to have a surprise kill at some point, congrats, we know which characters are pretty much going to survive up to the end.
Oh god, the game is still going.
Remember guys, the trial is still going.
My god.
Oh yeah, technically is. See you for the next part.
Yeah.